welcome. Today we're going to talk about effective tips to search and apply to internships, research, and employment opportunities. I'm Dr. Meredith. Of course, a lot of you guys already know how I function within the College of Ag Science and Technology. I'm really excited about this topic because this is what I've done actually since graduate school in 2006. And so to have actually taught it and then go to a HBCU and put everything in practice and then to see student success, it always excites me and definitely keeps me engaged with the research that's going on. So I'm going to move right into it. Of course, these are information as far as different housekeeping. The room always locks 5 minutes after we start. We ask that your camera's on for professionalism. Of course, please stay muted unless you are asking a question. And then to ask a question, please enter it in the chat or raise your hand. This one's going to move pretty fast. So as I am talking, if you would put your chat, if you do have questions, if you would put them in the chat, I'll address them at the end when I drop the links to the survey for attendance, as well as the other contacts that are across campus that will definitely aid in the topic that we're talking about today. Just uh, an understanding of what we are presenting this year as for spring 2023 when it is in terms of the Empower engagements. These are the various topics and dates that are going to span from alumni coming in on the 31st to talk about their experiences. These are May 2022 graduates. Some of you definitely know them, and they're going to give their experiences on what it's like in graduate school. I know I have one at UD Animal Science that's coming, one at Virginia Tech that's a vet, a vet, um, Alicia Davis, one in the military, Joseph Debnan, and I can't think about the fourth one. But then we're going to move into the faculty staff topics on academic strategies for student success, because I feel as though it's best for you guys to hear it from the faculty, right? They grade you. So they should be able to give you feedback on things that they've seen through the years and things that they wish students would be doing right now to be, moving to your optimal um, place when it comes to your academia. Uh, Effective writing for emerging professionals is definitely important. Students, and I have no problem, use me all the time when it comes to uh, students use me all the time when it comes to professional writing. And I always say, as long as not cheating, as long as you give me the document and I edit it, I send back. That's the way that you learn how to write. But it's always, can you help me respond to internship? Can you help me respond to a professor? Can you help me respond to an employer? So I said, let's craft a whole workshop, offer it to the whole institution, so that we can work on that. Then, of course, conflict resolutions in professional spaces is important. Emotional intelligence won't die. It's like, no, I shouldn't say it like that, but it's extremely popular. And I just never thought that, because at the end of this semester, I will have done 60 of these since June of 2021. And I never thought that emotional intelligence would be the most the most impactful, I should say. So I'm reading a new book. You guys know I don't like doing the same thing twice. So for part two, I'm using this book to actually infuse, modifying your behaviors as far as emotional intelligence and actually where it comes from. And then the last, of course, every spring I used to be a student advisor, a student organization advisor for years. And I just feel as though in the spring is when there should be student org membership drives, because you have so many seniors that are graduating that were in leadership positions. And to keep these organizations fresh and vibrant, we have to educate, the freshmen and the sophomores about participating. And then social media branding. And the difference is social media branding, you'll see when I drop in the link for if you have not developed your LinkedIn profile, it will say social media branding, but that's where that's where emotional intelligence was born out of. So you'll see it. All you have to do is go through it, and you can actually learn how to develop your LinkedIn profile for college students. Part two that you just saw that's coming, we're gonna dive deeper into social media branding, and things that we should do, shouldn't do, examples that we do see online and that we don't see, things of that nature. Um, if you are attending for attendance, I will drop the survey and the QR code as soon as we are done so that you can do that. Of course, there's a $10 gift card drawing. And how I was able to create what you just saw for this spring, it was made for by you through these surveys. This is what you wanted to see this spring, right? So let me close this down and we'll go right into it. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yeah.
All right. So, um, you guys, and my office is new. It was created in June of 2021. And so one of the good things that I enjoy, not well, I enjoy definitely is making sure that opportunities get to students electronically so that you can do what you want to do with them. And so this is the notification that you would normally see, and it comes from Constant Contact. I always talk about this because as you can see at the top, it says external email, and some students do get confused as if it might be spam, but it's not. And so, as we're talking about the different REUs or research experiences from for undergraduates or employment um, or internships, they're going to funnel to you from me. And so anytime that I do funnel them to you, it means that it's for your major, right? So if I get an opportunity about plant science, it's going to plant science. If I get an opportunity about mathematics, it's going to mathematics. If there's an opportunity that I know that's coming in my college for a mass comm major, it's going to a mass comm major. And the same thing for outside of the College of Ag Science and Technology. Also, this was the last one. A student had emailed me this back, but we have the Empowerment Book Club that is starting this Friday, and please check your email for that information. So delving right into it, this is everything that I'm going to use today is actual and factual that has crossed my desk. And so when we talk about internships, it's an awesome opportunity for you to take on the experience of working at an organization, a business, usually throughout the summertime. And the beautiful thing about all this is that get that you get to be there, you get to work in your field of study to see if you want to stay there. And then you also get the opportunity to see what the culture is like, to see if you fit in, to see if you will actually have the opportunity to advance. And so that's why I always push this. I always say, look, I understand you might not get an internship your freshman year, but my mindset and how I practice is that during the summertime, you should either be doing academia as far as maybe summer school if you can afford it, or an internship. Just like in graduate school, during the summertime is usually when you are actually doing your research. So it's kind of the same mind frame. This company, FMC, has a historic relationship with Delaware State University, a tight relationship. And it started out of the chemistry department with the current dean, Dr. Sharice Winstead Casson, and it has grown. And so they're actually coming in March. We're going to do it in person within the college, um, as far as like sort of a chat and chew. So we're going to look at this opportunity that they sent. They sent me in the fall, and see what it has to offer. So of course we know FMC, it's a huge conglomerate. It has to have people that are there for business. They have to have lawyers. They have to have research. They have to have biologists. And they just specifically started their relationship with us for chemistry. So these are the different areas and questions to really consider. That one shouldn't have come that quick, but those questions about to appear. But also, when we flip the page, they talk about the different college majors that they're interested in. And later on, I'm going to talk about really thinking outside the box, because these companies that are coming in and taking out their time and doing virtual appointments and coming into career fairs, we got to stop thinking that, okay, FMC is just chemistry, right? So these are also the other majors that they are offering. Specifically, my college and the College of Business have Office of Student Engagements, and I link and I work a lot with the College of Business because guess what? STEM companies and government that come to me, they also need the College of Business as far as talent. So we have ag, we have business, we have chemistry, we have entomology, we have plant science. And I'm also saying this from experience. So everything that I send out is literally what I do before I send it to you. I vet every opportunity. One, because I don't want to be embarrassed. Two, I don't want to waste your time. Three, there's usually a deadline, and I don't want to send something out that you guys can't apply to. And then also, I noticed when I started doing this, when I started at Dell State, I could send you an opportunity about FMC, right? But since I send it to you, are you going to contact FMC about questions, or are you going to contact me? Students always contact me. And so when I'm sitting in these meetings with industry, I ask a lot of questions and they look crazy, not crazy, but they just look like, wow, this is a lot. And I always say, I said, well, this is what students are going to ask me. And, I don't want to look like I'm not educated about the opportunity. All right. So internship questions to consider when we are considering an internship. Is there a current relationship between the organization and Delaware State University? 9 times out of 10, uh, when you have a professor that's a PhD and an expert, they also have colleagues, right? And so there are opportunities that flow from industry as well as from the field of study to your professors. That's why I'm huge on building positive relationships with your professors, because you just never know how the way that you connect, the pipelines that they have, can actually get you to your actual career goal. Does this internship opportunity align with my future career goals, and how? This is important because if it doesn't, you're not going to be motivated to do your best work. What is my true intention for participating in this opportunity? Do I really want to utilize this opportunity and gain all the experience I need? Or is this, I want to go to San Diego for the summer, so I'm just going to take this opportunity. You really have to figure out what your true intention is. Is the company a culture? Is the company a culture I can see myself comfortable in? This is extremely important because if you don't feel included, you're not going to do your best work, and it's just not, it's not a positive experience. So you definitely want to do that as much as you possibly can. And that also delves into why students really have to go to career services and things of that nature, because when you have that one-on-one conversation with a recruiter or a rep, that's where you're going to get that's where you're going to get the answer to that question about the culture, right? And on top of that, well, I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Melanie Jimerson, she might not remember, but if Melanie, if you could just unmute for a second, did I see you in the Agilent meeting when Amber Fitch was there too?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir,
Okay.
you did. Yeah, actually, yeah, yeah.
You were right behind me, and you said something that was profound. And this morning, when I was actually putting this together, I said that was
Uh-huh.
Melanie. And it shocked me because I consistently do research on Generation Z, because one, I was a recruiter and I'm selling a product, so I need to understand your mind. And
Yeah.
then now I've moved into a space where I definitely need to understand your mind. And I was not previous, I'd say about 7 years ago,
Hmm.
students, all they cared about was money.
Yeah.
And so when you raised your hand and you asked about the culture and you related it to what you want to do,
Hmm.
it clearly is stuck in my mind. So can you just say the question that you would ask Agilent?
Yeah, for the question that I asked Agilent, it was more centered around what are Agilent's values? What is their quote unquote like mission statement? What are their intentions on being a, Fortune 500 science company, and what are they actually doing in their sector? Um, because for a career that you choose to work in, it's never really about money. It's about waking up and feeling fulfilled to do that every day.
And that's
So,
what Generation Z is all about. And I
yep,
admire it
yep,
because generations prior, well, we can talk
mhm,
about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But like I
yeah,
said, to actually see it in motion,
uh-huh,
I was like, wow, because myself and my mentor, Dr. Kimra Jefferson Moore, she's coming in. She comes in every semester to talk with you guys. We were baffled years ago about why students were not taking on internship opportunities. She had an opportunity for a young lady, ag business with Land O'Lakes. And
wow,
the young lady didn't have to interview. All she had to do was get on a plane. Everything was paid for. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, Dr. Jefferson, what the bleep is going on? And she was like, Alex, it's because they have too many opportunities. If you think back when we were in school, there was no LinkedIn, there was no technology. So they're bombarded with so much. And, you know, I can't discredit the young lady, but her feeling was, hey, I want to open up my own business.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this is in alignment with for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things of that nature. But like I said, it's definitely something to take note of. So
Yeah.
also, is the pay at a competitive level with other internships considering the summer? Like I just said, there are so many opportunities that, you know, these companies and government now have to compete. And finance is definitely one. Does the organization offer honorariums for travel, housing, and meals? I know usually with government, they can offer all three. I think who is it? The gentleman that I worked with from Boeing that's now at Northman Grumman for engineering. They always tell us about the different sites that they have across the country. So I always ask, is there travel involved and blah blah blah. But many of them will actually make sure that your travel's taken care of. Of course, like I said, your housing. Some will offer a meal stipend. So these are definitely some things, like I said, that you want to consider so that you can make the best decision for yourself. Are there current DSU students or alums that can speak to their experience with this company? And this is huge because, well, we're competing globally. Not only are we complete, or not only are you are we competing globally, but a Dell State student is competing against the A&T student, against a Yale student, against the Alabama and A&M student, against a UCLA student. And so these are the different inlets that you actually have. And I'm going to show you where you can find them on LinkedIn. And I'm going to also give you an example, so I won't go into attributes and characteristics right now. Who can I contact to assist me in being successful in competing for this opportunity? So this is LinkedIn. I'm going to now go to my LinkedIn page, of course, because I'm connected to these individuals, and I'm going to show you how you can actually, it used to be called cold calling. I don't know what you would call it now. uh, and cold calling is, you know, you just call up a company and basically ask what opportunities available. But we're going to now shift that to cold calling in a sense virtually to Dell State alums. So if we switch over to FMC Corporation and we go to my network, I put in FMC Corporation, everything's tabulated. If I really want to be there, follow it. Anything that they have going on in their company is going to go through your news feed so that even if you don't go with this opportunity right now, hey, when you get ready to graduate, you might see something else that you're like, no, 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 I've seen the research, that's in my alignment, and so and so works here, I want to work with them, and you might end up there. So out of my people, I can then see and or people that are related to me. I can see that my homegirl Ebony Weber, I was, like I said, the Manners advisor for Dell State. Manners is national. Ebony oversees it nationally. I can see I could contact her about it, my boss. And then I also have four other mutual people. This is one of my new colleagues, Tracy Schickel. We work together. She's at UD. I could contact her about different things dealing with FMC. But the key person is a Dell State graduate who's now finishing his PhD at Dell State, Douglas Austin. Douglas's story is way back when Dr. Winstead actually formed these opportunities. Douglas was a student in his master's program that actually took on the opportunity. He took it on while he was working. He might have done it in his undergrad. No, he took on this opportunity with his master's degree. He actually spoke at the groundbreaking for the new ag building last semester. That's the only reason why I know this. And so they worked with him. They said, okay, well, you want to advance and you want to do your PhD right now. We're going to employ you full time, and then you will work with your scheduling to make sure that you get your PhD. And so I think he defends this semester. So he'll be Dr. Douglas Austin. In all that time, from master's to finishing PhD and being employed, can you imagine all of the corporate knowledge that he knows and that if you reach out to him that he could actually give you? So these things are really important in making sure that we utilize technology to our advantage. Moving further on with the FMC opportunity, like I said, if you follow it, oh wow, pages people also viewed. Well, I didn't really feel like FMC, but let me see about Syngenta. I know all about Syngenta and Corteva because I'm from agriculture. But people see the word agriculture and think that nothing's there for them. But there are opportunities that are there for Syngenta and Corteva. These are global companies. Why would they not need somebody that's an English major, that's a technical writer that can write their policy? Why would they not need a lawyer that can actually defend lawsuits? You can go all the way down the stream. So I just want students to realize that your degree is interdisciplinary as well as what you actually want to do with it. And it's up to you because it's your onus, it's your degree, it's your future, and it's your career. Um, so then, if we move into REU experiences, which are research experiences for undergraduates, these opportunities are everywhere. They are everywhere because, of course, things are becoming more diverse. There's so many campaigns for inclusion. Spaces are being opened that never were opened for minorities. And so they're really putting their foot forward and being active. This crossed my desk last week, and it's coming through Dr. Osbe in our natural resources area. They're actually coming to promote two different internships. I didn't get to read, there's so much information. I didn't get to read all of it, but it's both of them are awesome opportunities. But they're actually coming to campus. We didn't set a date, but I think it's going to be in the beginning of March or February. But like I said, I always make sure that I send it to you guys via email. So, like I said, please look out for that. But this specific opportunity, this would actually be the website, everything you're not going to necessarily always see like in a specific job description, but here it's important. You need to go here and find out what things are about. You need to see what events are that there are. You need to see about initiatives. You need to see about resources, so that if you were to come and meet Mr. Lyles in February down in the College of Ag, you sound educated about what you know. And people that have somebody in front of them that know what they're talking about, they invest in them because they know what they invest in you or pour into you, you're going to appreciate and actually use. So just make sure that you do those small little things. A lot of times when we think about an interview, it's like, oh, go look at the website for a second. No, they know that you already looked at the website. They want to delve deeper. They want to know what is it that you can do for us since we're paying you that is outside of the box than our regular candidate? What is it about you and your experience that's going to bring value and be in alignment with what we have going on? And this is the only way to do it. One, to learn about the organization and then participate in something as much as possible. So when we think about questions to consider for an REU, is this REU coming from a DSU faculty member or directly from the organization? It's phenomenal. I mean, it's important because, like I said before, if it's a DSU faculty and they're sitting in front of you and they can speak to who you are and cut you in front of the line because their friend also did their PhD with them at Auburn, and their friend is now in industry in a VP and really needs talent, and they're willing to actually take the word of a colleague that they've now known from school to now being a VP, you're going to cut the line. And that's essentially, like I said, with the North Carolina A&T example with Land O'Lakes. The young lady cut the line. Also, my mentee, Rochelle Purnell, she was an ag business major. She went off to Virginia Tech, did her master's in ag ed, then went to A&T, did cooperative extension, felt as though it wasn't for her anymore. She'd been trying to get in the government since she was with me, and actually she did internships with the government while she was with at Delaware State University. She called me, and she said, well, she calls me Suge, but she was like, at the time, she was like, Mr. Merritt, can you believe it? I just got a call from the Department of Navy. And I was like, the Department of Navy? Like, that's not in alignment with anything you've been trained to do. And she was like, no, no. They have this, they have that they're offering. I said, well, how did you get in, Rochelle? And she was like, oh, there's a lady that graduated from UMES, and she was out and she was recruiting through LinkedIn. She hit me up, and she was definitely recruiting Black females. And I said, okay, well then what was your process like? She was like, oh, she connected me with her boss. We had a conversation, and right then and there he just asked me if I want to work here. And I was sitting there looking baffled. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? Congratulations to you. Congratulations. So she's still there. She's, like I said, working for Department of Navy, dealing basically with logistics and weaponry. Um, does this RU align with my future research plan or a future graduate school requirement? This is huge because the time that you are here with us is the time that graduate schools and employers are expecting you to have learned everything that I'm talking about and put it in practice for by the time that you get to them. And so, Azure, if you could just talk just for a second about your experience with applying to Purdue for um, it's vet school, right?
It's not vet school. It's the Vet Up College program.
Okay.
Um, and they do actually offer when people are accepted, they do offer early, not admittance, but like early application. Like they accept like for them to actually apply to vet school early and everything. And the application was interesting. Um, I've never been the one to look into research and do research. I've never been the one to be in a lab and mess with chemicals and stuff. That's not me. But that was actually on there. They want you to have research, they want you to have paid experience, they want you to have animal experience, they want you to have veterinary experience. They want you to have like the whole 9 yards of stuff that you would never think you would actually need.
Wow.
So
And
with
and so, so how were you able to actually satisfy that requirement?
through this program, through the CAS scholarship. I've never been the one to look to be in like a research program or help faculty or anything, but with it being a requirement for these next 2 years, um, it opened my eyes to other opportunities besides just being a vet, I guess you could say. So with the CAS program, it has helped me add stuff to my resume and to my applications that I never thought I would actually need. Because without this program, without the CAS scholarship, I best believe I would probably never have done anything with research. That would never have even crossed my mind until I've seen the Vet Up application. That I'll be like, oh snap, I kind of need this. But by then, I would have already been in my junior year of spring, and I would only have a year and a half left. But with this program, I was able to have two. I will have 2 years of research under my belt, so I'll know what they. I can add that to my resume and applications.
And so to speak to her point, when I was a recruiter, I always advised students that were coming from high school because college is expensive and we may or we may not have what you need. And so I always have taken the time to help young adults, well, they were high schoolers, of course, and advocate for them because I never want anybody to waste their time or money because I don't want anybody to do that with me. And so through those conversations, whether they were coming to Del State or not, I would still help them or funnel them to other opportunities. And so what I would always say is, look, you need to work backwards. If you know that your career goal is to be, I'll just like I said, well, let's do genetics. If your career goal is to be a geneticist, I said, work backwards. Google best geneticist programs in the United States. Um, uh, well, actually, no. First, go to the career, and then see what you need to satisfy that. Is the career as a geneticist going to be the right average as far as money that you're going to make? That if you do have to take out student loans, that you could actually create your budget right now to see what you could afford in the sense of picking an institution. And then is that institution going to be in alignment with the requirements that are going to be necessary for you to potentially go to graduate school if you have to get a master's degree to be a geneticist? And then continue to work backwards. And it's the same way all across the board. So always work backwards as far as your ultimate career goal. Does participating help me become competitive for future opportunities of interest? Of course, this is important as well. And Azure just spoke about that. Is this RU offering anything extra in comparison to other RUs? I am considering the summer. That's along the lines of internships. Of course, we want to research the website for past participant testimonials. That is huge. You know what I'm saying? So because now you have organizations that are investing in you, but they also want you to know what you're getting into. And I'm going to show you in a second as far as an example. Does a school or organization align with who I am to ensure that the opportunity is a comfortable fit? It's the same thing as far as what we just discussed when we talked about an internship, but kind of flipping it. Does the time span of this opportunity align with the institution's fall or spring calendar? A lot of times that's questions that I ask when I'm in meetings with industry, because some have opportunities that are that actually are ongoing throughout the semester. And I don't say anything, but I immediately think like, okay, if a student is a junior or senior and you're expecting them to intern with you during the fall and have classes, and we don't have a huge amount of, as far as concentrated major coursework online, then it's not of huge benefit to the student. So please make sure that you are assessing that information, and then also make sure that it is actually during the summertime and that it coincides with what you have going on during the summertime. If you have, an opportunity that is astronomical, but you're going on vacation with your family, that's your decision and time to really make the decision of, hey, do I want to ask them to change their schedule or mine? Well, who needs who? So, but the backup is if you've done your research and you've been applying throughout the fall, for these opportunities that are going to be during the summer of the following year, or the next year, then hey, I already have 5 other offers. So okay, opportunities. I'll just take that one off. I'm going to Cancun with my family. Does the time span? Yep, we talked about that one. Does this RU offer an honorarium again for travel, housing, or meals as it possibly can? And then last, are there current DSU students or alums that can speak to their experience with this REU? And so if we go back to LinkedIn, actually, no. This is actually an opportunity. So when I spoke about the gentleman that's coming, Mr. Lyles, he has 2 opportunities. He has the PEP that I just mentioned before, and then he has this opportunity as well, as far as inclusivity with NOAA and fisheries internship, potential projects, and mentors. Um, so this is the opportunity, the second one. When you go to their website, they have student testimonials. Here you have Teamer, who's already been a part of it. He's literally right down the street at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. We're both 1890s land grant institutions. He's environmental studies. And then he also talks about his project. Well, clearly, with this being blue, they have his contact information to where you can directly email him and get his experience right out of, get the actual experience right out of the student's mouth. And yeah, so like I said, with technology, that's kind of phenomenal. But also here we have LinkedIn. And so it makes you curious. You can easily type in NOAA fisheries. When you go to LinkedIn, this, like I said, is my network. And so you can always just see, you can follow them. If I was really interested in that opportunity and wanted to do some more research and investigating, okay, I don't know him, but Kyle is one of my mentees. He was agribusiness. He actually works for the federal government. Okay, I could call Kyle about him or this opportunity and see what he knows. Lonnie, I don't know Lonnie, but my homegirl Ebony Weber, I could call her. I did my doctorate with Jericus Copes, same cohort, and there's also 8 other individuals. So the the session that I taught last year, I think I did it twice, LinkedIn for college students, teaches you how to do this and how to develop your actual LinkedIn page. Everything that I do is recorded and put on my webpage for the Office of Student Engagement within the College of Ag Science and Technology. I pulled the link and I'm going to drop it in the chat. So if you like to watch it and develop your LinkedIn and shoot me emails for questions, that's fine. And then also last, I don't know her, but Venice Jennings graduated from Dell State. We were here together. I'm '04, she was '06. We worked together in manners. She's a PhD now. She actually teaches natural resources at No, she did a PhD at Bethune-Cookman. I don't know what school she's at right now, but I could easily shoot her a quick email and ask her about this opportunity as well. Um, I don't know what that's about. All right. So at the end of the day, the serious takeaways from this Empower engagement, please utilize your network, faculty, staff, and university services. I'll never forget I was at North Carolina A&T working on my master's in Ag Econ, and I actually worked underneath Dr. Austin as a grad assistant, and we developed a really good relationship. And um, he had a fraternity brother at Southern Illinois University Carbondale, who ended up being my graduate advisor again because I went to grad school there as well. And Dr. Wakefield knew Pat McNeil, who was the associate dean for graduate school, and she oversaw underrepresented populations. So I've always wanted to do what she does, and now that's literally what I'm doing. And that's why I love what I do. But I needed money to get there. So Dr. Wakefield contacted Dr. McNeil. Wakefield didn't know me from a can of paint, but he knew Dr. Austin. I worked in his office. Wakefield let Austin know they have the National Science Bridge to Doctorate program, which paid for my schooling, my books, $2,500 to live on every month. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't doing it. So then you have, Carbondale's an hour and a half from St. Louis. Chicago's 3 hours north. So I was going. But at the end of the day, the student that I was kind of rough. Excellent in the classroom, but did not really develop my skill sets professionally as because I just felt like if I have gotten here with a 3.9, like what are y'all talking about? So so I had to learn. I had a lot of lessons that I had to learn, and a lot of people that were in my corner that were patient enough to teach me. And so, for example, Dr. Austin, I think it was for this specific opportunity, he sat me down and he was trying to help me develop like my writing and things and stuff to apply, and I just wasn't hearing it or feeling it because I wasn't trying to like do it. And so being a student, I just sent it off. And so he asked me, come in the office, like, okay, where are we at with this? And I was like, I already sent it. And he was like, he was so serious. He's like, Alex, don't ever do anything else like that again. And now I understand why. It definitely is coming 360. So that's just really a real life example as far as not only that, first impressions. Like I said, I was rough. Miss McNeil, I'm still in contact with her. She's retired. She's in Austin. But I mean, she asked me for stuff like 3 different times. She had asked me for a photo. And I was thinking, okay, what does she need a headshot for? And I had sent something instead of going and doing it professionally like she told me to do. And I sent it off, and it was for publication, right? It was a PWI. We're supporting this student full time. We need to put him in publications. We have this, ceremony when they come in. We have brochures to look at. I wasn't thinking about all that. I was a student. And like the third time, she called me up and chewed me out. She was just like, young man, and I was just like, okay, man, I promise I'll go do it. But I'm so glad that she did that because she set the tone for not playing any games when I got there. So I knew what I was dealing with. And yeah, I'm thankful to people like that. Uh, of course, go to career fairs and industry campus visits. This is huge. I'm gonna be honest, I get really disappointed that Dell State students don't show up. I don't know what they're thinking, but I'm gonna tell you why it's important, because you want to get in front of an employer no matter what, and no matter if you think that a company is there for you or your major or not. And I'm going to talk about that in a second as far as things being interdisciplinary. One example that I say, NYU came, I brought them here last semester. One of my classmates from high school, Chris Wilson, found him on LinkedIn. He works at NYU. I said, yo, I have students here that are interested in dentistry, but we don't have like pre-dental or anything else like that. And I said, can you just talk? He was like, nah. He was like, I'll hook you up with Dr. Laurel Burns. She oversees all of the students, that are minorities. She's a minority. She can come in and do a presentation with the students. I was like, okay, bet. So they came through. And so even though it says College of Dentistry, in my mindset, I was thinking that students would be like, okay, that's the College of Dentistry. They're here because they're doing inclusivity. At the end of that presentation, when Dr. Burns is done, I'm at least going to ask her if I can get her email address and let her know, like, I really want to go to NYU. I'm an English major. Do you know anybody there? I was thinking that it would be seen as a pipeline. Um, and some people did utilize it as a pipeline. The biology students, they definitely did. But this is why I do the work that I do, to try to show more Dell State students that you can do something interdisciplinary when it comes to your actual degree. Interviews are subjective, meaning that this is also why I said you need to get in front of somebody, because in an interview, they're just sitting there judging you. Interviewing is a professional skill. It's something that has to be developed over a trajectory of time. That's why a lot of people aren't good with interviewing. It's the same thing with public speaking. And sometimes if you're in a company and you're comfortable and you're afraid of interviewing, you might stay there because you think that you're not going to do good on another interview. But if you're working with somebody that's in front of you, that has had conversations, is on your in behind you, knows what you want to do, you can go into that interview and it flunk. But at the end of the day, with that person, when the when the hiring manager just goes by what they see from your interview and what's been written, and still knows who you met, and is like, well, we're not going to take them, and they say, what do you mean we're not going to? No, 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 no. And they speak to your whole passion, they'll be like, okay, sometimes people have bad days with interviews. So that's why those things are extremely important as well. I had a young lady that just graduated. She was a scholar. She had been with me since she was a freshman. I met with her parents. I was the recruiter. The whole time that she was with me, I had nothing but love for her family. Her mom sent me my favorite Girl Scout cookies every March. They would just appear on my desk. I would educationally advise her. She was one of my ambassadors when I was running the ambassadors program. Like I said, she became one of my scholars, and I had linked her with a 2014 graduate with a corporation dealing with food science. Well, my alum backed out on her. And I'm thinking, okay, so now she thinks she's gonna come back here. Like, how do I now, how am I comfortable now with sending students to her if she just, backed out on the student? So we were talking. I said, well, listen, if you really want to be a food inspector and you want to go to FDA, I said, you need to contact Kalana Mall. She's Kyle Mall's sister, older sister, the Kyle I just mentioned. I said, she's at FDA. FDA, hit her up on LinkedIn. Don't say anything about me. Just talk about cold call, talk about y'all's experiences. Y'all have the exact same majors. Bam, she gets an interview with FDA. And then FDA called me. It was about a month ago. I was driving to campus, and the gentleman, Ray Chung, he was like, oh, we just had an interview with her. Do you have time? It was all these questions. And long story short, I can sense that he had some doubt about her. But I spoke. I spoke to the standpoint of an average college student, and that they basically across the nation would be nervous about what you're talking about. I spoke to how I trained her and the things that she factually and actually did with me. I spoke to the fact that her mom works in HR, and I spoke to the fact that she would have longevity with the USDA, probably till she retires. Long story short, she contacted me. She was like, they gave me an offer. And I was like, well, I'm so happy for you. Please pay it forward to the next alum. So that's another story. Be open-minded and think outside the box about your major, like I just said. And for example, uh, things that have happened in the last semester, but just one example, if like you are English major, right? Or if you're a social work major, well, there's social services, there's whole Delaware Department of Social Services or Family and Social Services in the state of Delaware. Well, if you are social work, don't you have to write a lot of policy? Doesn't that policy then have to then go to the public? There's technical writing. That's an English major, and that's mass comm. EPA that came in last semester, they came in, they needed lawyers. They needed IT computer science. They needed mass comm. They needed all STEM majors, and they also needed all business majors. And so that's just an example about interdisciplinary and thinking outside the box and reasons why you need to attend things like the career fair, because you're going to see companies and they're going to be there for more reasons than one. Use your time wisely while you're here. Like I said, you had this whole 4 years. I always get students. I'm not going to tell you the look that they look of fright that they give me, but they're always concerned the last semester that they're here. And I always help and service them the best that I can. But you have to be doing it for the whole 4 years, because I can teach you and tell you about theory, but if you're not actually doing it in practice, when do you become empowered or comfortable to actually exercise them and flex? So, so please, like I said, the time that you're here, take on these different opportunities so that you're developed. One time, my advisor, like I said, mentor that's coming in February 7th, we were sitting there, Wakefield. I found out I got the bridge to doctorate opportunity, and she was telling me where I was getting ready to go to because she had gone to U of I, and I was going from Ag Econ, and I thought I was going to stay in Ag Econ when I got to Carbondale. I ended up switching to Ag Education, but the conversation that we were having, I was talking as if I had already mastered the coursework, and in the sense of I can learn it when I get there. And she was very frank with me. She said, Alex, they're expecting you to know this when you get there. They're not, they're expecting you to know this when you get there. It's not going to work the other way around. You're going to have to form to what's going on there. And like I said, that's always stuck with me. And then first impressions matter most. Like I talked about, being flexible. If you had an opportunity with an internship program during the summertime and you had vacation, you really have to be as flexible as possible. I started with, I'm a dual director, but on the scholarship side of things, scholars that have been with me for 3 years, they know that initially there was a whole interview process. And I'll never forget, I used to prep them for the interview. I would call, do everything as far as on the admission side. And I called a young man, and I was sitting right out back in like a beach chair getting sun. It was during the summertime. Um, and uh, and and when I called, what did he do? I called, and all I heard was loud music and like, yo. And I immediately just hung up. And I was sitting there thinking in the chair, and I was like, because I do have a right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to call. I could have gone, I can go to another candidate. And so I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was like, this is not the right thing to do. I said, I need to call him back. I need to meet him where he's at, like how Miss McNeil did me when she called me about that photo. And I just need to let him go where he wants to go with things and at least bring him up to where I'm at. And so yeah, so I called him back. He had enough nerve. Now, mind you, we had a committee of 4 experts, PhDs, sitting there. He had enough nerve to tell me, "Oh, I can't make it. I gotta work. You have another time." And I was sitting there like, I just could not believe, but I just kept on praying. I was like, you know what, this is gonna make sense one day. This is gonna make sense. And maybe it is because I'm telling you guys this, is that first impressions really, 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 really do matter. And I enjoy presenting, and I hope that you guys use the information.